What up, Churros family? We are live. It's been a while. You're gonna have to excuse the bit of a surprise start here for me, at least. I always gotta get used to getting back to this format, and it's a solo sesh today. Kian will not be able to make it as he's still arriving or settling in. He's flown to Madrid, so he has to settle in. I think he has to rush over to Valdebebas to catch some glimpse of Los Blancos in the training session. So I was warned prior to doing today's churros that I was probably going to have to do it alone. And I thought, you know what, let's wait a day. But today, let's just go live, shall we? Like I said, it's been a long time that I haven't gone live on my YouTube channel, the old D spot. Look at that little alien right there. Why not? And I figured, let's do it. Let's connect with the community once more. Let's get some questions rolling in. I see Thor, the Dan. I see Saif. What's happening? Good to see you guys as well. And like I said, let's do a live session and see what the Barça community is feeling ahead of this Barça Porto. It's a big one, folks. It is a very big clash indeed, as the focus shifts back on the Champions League after another massive disappointment in LaLiga. My goodness. Whew, what a season this has been so far. It's not been pretty, that's for sure. Another massive disappointment in the domestic league. Once again, over the weekend, saw Barça drop points, this time against Rayo Vallecano. It's not like we weren't warned. Rayo has been a thorn in our thigh. Is that what you say? A thorn in our thigh? I don't know. And they, God damn it. I mean, you can't say it wasn't deserved. The win, despite all of the polémicas, the controversy, which we're going to get through, or the win, I should say. The draw was a deserved draw. The team still is not playing anywhere close to where we want this team to be, to where Xavi wants it to be as well. And it's a strange one, man. It's a strange season. It's a depressing one. Quite frankly, it's the churro sessions are difficult to do sometimes to muster up the motivation to come on and listen to my good friend and Madridista counterpart do these introductions. And, you see the header right here. You see it, right? La Liga lost. I mean, that is the sentiment right now. I think, already at the beginning of the season, did I feel that this year it was going to be Madrid's for the taking and Barça's for the losing. Barça's for the I think I'm saying that right. And in the first few match days, that became more evident and more clear with the passing of each match day and each minute. And I'm not going to sit here and, bust out the violin and talk about all the injustices that we are having to deal with. But quite frankly, it is the case. It's the truth. And I've said it before in the podcast. It's an undeniable truth, and also one that I think, you're doing, or we're doing as culés, a bit of a disservice if we're not pointing it out. Because with the passing of each match day, we're seeing time and time again how we're being wrongly done by, and how clear penalty calls are just not going our way. But anyways, let's get into it. Saif, Hadid, good to see you too, my friend. I see on your profile picture that the family is well. Thor as well. Thank you for joining this live stream. It's an improvised one, so let's see if we're getting more viewers joining, or if it's just going to be a bit of a rant, a bit of a monologue, as like I said, we're going to preview this Barça Porto, but of course we need to start with what took place over the weekend. Barça, or Rayo Barça, I should say, we walked away with a draw, and thank goodness, or good riddance. you know, that we will have the possession, yes, that we have most of the chances. I mean, I guess. I'm just pulling up the stat sheets now. But the feeling that I got throughout the entirety of the match was like it was just ugly, man. It's ugly. I for the life of me, I don't know why or how it's possible that this team has, how should I put it, is unable to even come close to playing that we played last season. We're just not able to. It's just this team right now is incapable of putting together the energy, the motivation, the ability, to muster up even like half of a decent image that we saw last season. And mind you, a lot of the focus last season was on the defense. I'm not saying that offensively we were an absolute powerhouse creating chances after chances. It has to be said that last season, defense, without a shadow of a doubt, was what won us the championship and, reconquer the LaLiga trophy, which was massive. I mean, it was a huge achievement, a massive achievement for Xavi in his first, full season in charge, with the first trophy that was won in a post-Messi era, with the Marc-Andre ter Stegen that was, stratospheric, playing at an incredible level, just keeping out everything from the back of the net, setting records not just in the domestic league but also in the top 5 European competitions. And our defense, with in particular Ronald Araujo, Koundé, and Andreas Christensen coming together as a trio, as the trident, the threesome, call it what you want. They were just 3 pillars in the back. Add to that, and Alejandro Balde, that last season was phenomenal, and this season continues to execute and play at a very high level. There's just something wrong. There's something missing defensively. There's something that is not quite there. Of course, we had to deal with the injuries once more from Ronald Araujo, although he is back now. Let's knock on wood, because with the way the season is going, we need all the good fortunes and superstitions to go our way. So let's hope that the Uruguayan central defender, stays healthy, as Koundé and Balde, of course. But it's these lapses of concentration that really worry me. We saw it against Granada. We've seen it on several occasions. I want to pull up the highlights. Let me see if I could. Can I be cheeky and maybe I can try to get the highlights playing here as well on the stream. I know we're gonna get demonetized, but hey, when has a little demonetization ever stopped me from doing something naughty and committing a little copyright violation? Why is this not popping up? Hold on, let me try to be a little bit creative, so you're not just looking at my face. In the meantime, let me go over. I see comments are raining in, man. Good to see you. Saif is saying it's not lost, Diego. Too early to judge, bro. Saif, thank you for joining the chat. Thank you for your comment. After this stream, I would like you to stand in front of a mirror, look yourself dead in the eyes, and be very truthful, and ask yourself this tough and uncomfortable but relevant and necessary question: is this right now a championship team? And I think if you're being critical enough and honest enough with yourself, the answer is very evident and very straightforward, and the answer is no. At least that's what I hear when I look at myself in the mirror and ask myself that question, especially when you compare that to Real Madrid, that is, continuing to pick up points and threes at free will, and without much of an effort, you have to say, and I brought up the R word, and whether I will bring him up. I mean, I will bring it up because certain refereeing decisions in this Rayo game have to be mentioned. But, the refereeing decisions are going their way as well, with regardless if Real Madrid TV want to continue to put referees under pressure and pump out those videos, whatever they are doing over there in the White House, for Los Blancos, their strategy is working because they are getting very favorable calls. And of course, they're also just playing better. That has to be said. That it's pretty plain and simple, under the leadership of Bellingham. And it's not like they don't have injury issues themselves, neither with Vini now out and Tchouaméni having suffered an injury, Camavinga, of course, as well, Militao and Courtois. They're still executing at a higher level and being more efficient than Barça is at the moment, and that's just es una obviedad, es una puta obviedad. That's just stating the obvious in my perspective. So yeah, sorry guys. I'm gonna get to more of your comments. I love that the comments are already raining in. That helps me a lot. So keep the comments or questions going. I wanted to see. Here we go. All right. I want to see if I can have a little fun here and just have su puta madre. Stop and have the resumen, the highlights of the game against Rayo playing in the background. Here we go. Screen Sheriola. So, is this going to work? Yes. Is this good? Update audio. No, I don't want to do no updates. Let me just pull this over to here. I think we're good. I think we're good to go. I think we are right. Let me just make sure. Ecamm live program. Sorry, guys. Like I said, it's been a long time that I haven't done this, so be patient with me while I try to make this stream as fluid and flawless, all the while interesting for all of you guys. I think you got right. What can you see right now? I hope you can only see the highlights. Let it roll. Let it rip. So early on already, it was that moment where Rayo got a shot from outside of the box. Much respect and love to Iñaki Peña, by the way. Such a promising goalkeeper. Recently extended his contract. I'm going to press pause here because I don't think it's working. I don't think the video doesn't play. Yeah, screw this. This isn't working the way I want to. Hold on. I see the lagging. I see it's all jittery. That's not what I want. That is not at all what I want. Hold up. Wait a minute. All my homies getting gangster with it. Crip walk. A ver. Alright, screw it. Look, in the meantime, let me get to some of your questions, alright? So yeah, well, so again, Saif, just to circle back to your point, you're saying it's too early to judge. At this point in time, yes, we're not even at the halfway point yet, but I just, it's that feeling that you get. It's in the air. I just don't see this team as a championship team right now, championship caliber team. And I called it at the beginning of the season already when we did our little predictions between Kian and myself. I put Madrid to win LaLiga, and I'm sticking firm to that prediction because it's pretty obvious to me, man. It's just pretty obvious to me. So Mahan, we got Madridistas as well joining the live stream. Wonderful. That gives it that nice little balance between culés and Madridista. Mahan is saying, as Madridista, you have so much respect for me. Well, thank you very much, Mahan. Hey, I appreciate that. Everybody here is welcome. Anybody. Video stuck. I know, man. Thanks, Pranav. I was fearing the worst there, but it looks like we're back. I have no idea how this is going to come out. I've had to reboot the internet. Uh, so, yeah, I don't know who's still there, but thanks for sticking with it. Thanks for your questions. We're going to get to it. Let me stop procrastinating. Let me stop trying to be fancy and just get to the nitty gritty. Like I said, let's get to the meat of the bone. Let's get to the meat and potatoes and talk about the current state of Barça. Look, the performance against Rayo was god awful. It left so much to desire in terms of play. It just wasn't at all. It's just not. We're not in an ascending, triangle formation. Let's say we're not on an uptrend right now. I would say that the progress of this project under Xavi is very much linear. It's unfortunate that we're not able to produce, the same, not even moments of brilliant football that we saw last season. I have to struggle right now. I mean, I would say probably the game against Betis, it's quite obvious, or the game against Royal Antwerp were the two best performances. Actually, what else was I mean, look, the first half, the first 60, 70 minutes against Real Madrid, I thought were very muy dignos, very, what's the word? Dignant is not the word. Very, I'd say it was up to par, okay, in the Clásico. But so many games, and I'm going to get through some of the results in a minute here, have just left, it's just been bad. It's just been bad. It has not been good. I've, as a lot of you know, I've worked for Barça as a presenter, and recently I've been doing again some work there. Some of the work that I was doing was calling the games for a new platform that Barça is going to come out with called Barça One. I think you can expect that around January. Anyway, needless to say, I had to play catch up, so to speak, and call all of the games that we played so far this season. So starting with, actually, I didn't have to do Barça Getafe. Ex-colleague did that, but I did Barça Cádiz, Barça Villarreal, Barça Osasuna. Obviously, they were not all home games, but I did the games against Betis, Antwerp, Vigo, Mallorca, Sevilla, Porto. I did Granada, and I did Athletic Club, and Shakhtar Donetsk, and the Clásico, and Real Sociedad, and Shakhtar Donetsk. So I did do a lot, and looking over the results now. Wow, my screen fucking goes blank again. Jesus Christ. Man, the technical gods are not on my side today. It's just not been good. Cádiz, we managed to concede right off the get-go. I think it was the quickest goal conceded in LaLiga history, if I'm not mistaken, or at least that I can remember. And like that, we've seen so many lapses in concentration. You feel like the concentration levels just isn't there. You feel like the team is just disconnected, and whether it's Xavi's message that is not landing, or whether it's the players themselves that are just mentally, unwilling or unable to play with an intensity that is needed to get the games over the hump, but also, play with a purpose, play with a sense of urgency, man. Do it. What is going on? Like, I understand that Virus FIFA is a bitch, but it plagues all teams, or, all big teams. Why is it that every time we come back from an international break, this team just looks a shell of themselves, man? The annoying thing is, I already was walking into the Rayo game knowing exactly, like, I felt like I could have written that script. I knew that we were going to drop points. I knew it. I was hoping we weren't, but I knew that this was going to be a game where I was like, it's going to be a write-off. Fuck this. And it disappoints me, man. And it's time and time again. Again, I'm going over the scores here. Sorry, I mentioned the game against Cadiz. I meant the game against Granada, of course. The game against Cadiz was won. If I remember correctly, that was late in the game. But then it was, Villarreal. Okay, you're like, fine, Villarreal. At that point in time, Quique Setién was still sitting on that bench. Quique Setién, of course, knows Barça well. I don't know about, inside out. Not just because of his time here, which was obviously very short-lived, but he studied the Barça way. He is a big admirer of Johan Cruyff. So there you could argue, well, Villarreal, an offensive team, but they could have been up multiple goals. I mean, it was thanks to a fluke, really, like 2 chances that Barça managed to be display maximum efficiency that allowed us to get that, what was a 2-goal cushion that eventually they drew level. And once more, it was, thanks to persistence and sheer grit and determination that in the end we walked away with a very narrow victory. But there are moments in that game where you're just like, what is going on here? Then it was Osasuna, El Sadar, again, a ground that is traditionally always a tough ground for all the big teams in particular. We walk away with a very valuable 2-1 victory. But it was a hard-fought match. I kind of like, okay, there again, because of it's El Sadar, you kind of throw your hands up and you say, well, these are the kind of games that win championships. I understand that this team cannot play like we did against Betis, where we walk away with a 5-0 victory every single game. But then it was like, okay, 5-0 against Betis, venga, vamos, this is what we want to see. 5-0 against Antwerp, fine. Obviously a team that is not up to our standards, but those are the games that you want to win with those kind of goal margins. And Joao Felix, who of course at that time was getting his groove on massively already against Osasuna, making his debut, then Betis, then Antwerp as well as Joao Cancelo, and then the Barça Celta de Vigo debacle, the comeback. What was that? Like the 3-goal comeback in like 8 minutes. It's like, okay, when Madrid win those games, everybody loses their shit and they talk about the espíritu de Juanito. So it's like, okay, good. Well, we showed that we have that same fighting spirit, but Jesus Christ, let's not let that happen again. Disappointment against Mallorca, 2-2, massive disappointment. Mallorca that was down to 10 men, if I believe. Let me click here. What was late in the game? Here, right. Mallorca that went up 1-0. Eventually, Rafinha late in the first half equalizes. Prats puts them up, and eventually the youngster Fermin Lopez allows us to walk away with a draw. But again, quite frankly, a game that you don't walk away from that feeling good, feeling convinced, feeling like after Betis, after Antwerp, after a bit of a miracle against Celta de Vigo, like we're taking 2 steps back again. Then the game against Sevilla, yes, we pick up a win, but it was a goddamn own goal from Sergio Ramos, from all people, that allowed us to pick up the 3 points. What else did we do in that game? Not much. Then the narrow victory against Porto in the Champions League. You're like, okay, it's Porto, it's away. I'll take it. Granada, 2-2. Concede goals like right off the get-go. Like in the first minute, and I think they came out and scored in the. Oh no, that's not that game. But to be fair with Brian Zaragoza, he had 2 killer goals. That's the second goal that he scored. I mean, he outplayed Jules Koundé like as if he was goddamn Leo Messi or something. That was insane. But yeah, we had to come back from 2 goals down, right? And of course we were robbed. Yes, we were robbed. And yes, we have been robbed so many times so far this season. But I just don't want to have to depend on refereeing decisions, especially not after this whole goddamn Negreira gate. To the referees are clearly not going to call shit in our favor. Not even when it smacks you as obvious in the face, like the goal that should have stood against Granada, where Joao Felix scored the 3-2 right at the end, and they called an offside on Ferran Torres, I believe it was, right? Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we're seeing the biggest double standards, the biggest hypocrisies than that I can remember in recent years in La Liga, where calls for Madrid are handballs that are handballs. In our case, it's not a handball. When it's not a handball, it is a handball. Offside against us is not an offside in other games. Penalties against us are not called, and the same play they are penalties in other games. It's ridiculous. But I don't want to have to depend on it, because clearly, Florentino Perez's calls to Rubiales when he was still in charge, and the complaints of Ancelotti as well to at the coaching meeting and to the refereeing committee, it's resonating, right? I mean, at the start of the season, Ancelotti said, I hope the referees don't use VAR that much anymore, and they're not. Javier Tebas himself said ha habido un antes y un después de la llamada de Florentino Pérez. There's been a before and after of Florentino Pérez's call to Rubiales to complain about the refereeing, the refereeing system. Also, like demanding that the government steps in to clear up and to handle this the refereeing, the state of the refereeing decisions, or the state of the referees as a whole in the Spanish Football Federation and the Spanish top flight. And it's clearly resonated. I mean, his messages have clearly landed, because, I mean, it's just they've had a flawless season. If Kian was here, he would he would probably bring forward some cases where Madrid have been hard done by. But if you compare that to what Barça have had to deal with, it's night and day. The point being is that clearly we cannot depend on the help of the referees to get any calls right. So it all comes down to Xavi. It all comes down to the players, and it's not been enough. I'm going to continue. Barça Athletic Club, Marc Guiu coming to the rescue late in the second half to salvage us a point. Barça Shakhtar Donetsk, 2-1 win, a game that Shakhtar Donetsk could have easily tied, easily won, easily at the Camp Nou, or forgive me, the Luis Companys Stadium. Shakhtar Donetsk, Barça had a 2-goal cushion, foot off of the accelerator, job done. Shakhtar was like, sweet. They had a handful of chances. A ton of chances. The Clásico, like I said, 60, 70 minutes of Barça dominance translates into what? 1 goal for Barça, to then conceding 2 goals from Real Madrid. A fantastic Bellingham getting a brace. A great goal that I think Ter Stegen could have done better with. The shot outside of the box, and then some very questionable defending rather, allows them to get to 2-1 and walk away with the goddamn win. Real Sociedad Barça, we walk away with 3 points. You go back and watch that game and tell me how on earth Real Sociedad wasn't up, not 1, not 2, but 3-0 after 4 minutes of play. 3 goals they could have scored and should have scored, but didn't score after 4 minutes of play in the first half. And Barça walk away with the 3 points, thanks to, who was it? I think it was, Ronald Araujo that got the header, or the goal. I think it was a header. And through sheer miracle, allow Barça to walk away with 3 points. You're like, okay, good. The Clásico didn't affect us that much. This must have been, a little bit of a relief and breathe some confidence as we head into the Champions League match day 4 away against Shakhtar Donetsk. We've been warned. We know that this team means business, despite them being a humble Ukrainian side. They're playing in Germany, away from their home stadium. They win 1-0. We play quite possibly the worst game of the season. They win 1-0, and deservedly so. Barça Alaves, we win 2-1. Impressive win? Not at all. Not at all, to be quite frank. Let me just have a look at the scores again, because right now... Oh, right, it was the Lewandowski brace, eventually the penalty, that allow us to get the 3 points. But again, we concede in the very first minute. It was like Groundhog's Day. It was Granada all over again. It was Real Sociedad all over again. It was Barça on the back foot all over again. And Alaves taking the 1-goal advantage. We had to wait all the way into the second half, where Lewandowski eventually got his 2 goals and allowed Barça to win. But leaving me, absolutely just feeling completely indifferent, not to say demoralized about our performance. Then it's the break. We come back, and it's the Rayo debacle, 1-1, and here we are. 1-0 y gracias, or empate a 1 y gracias, as they say here. It was a draw, and thank you very much, because it was a game, quite frankly, that we should have, could have, and would have lost if it weren't for just the wee fortune that was on our side that day. But we're now 4th, 14 matches played in LaLiga, mind you. 31 points. We're tied with Atletico, where an Antoine Griezmann is just, ripping, he's killing it. He's having a great season. So I'm happy for Antoine, for all the colchoneros that are maybe joining this stream. But it's, of course, and mind you, they have one game in hand, so they've played 1 game less. 31, tied with Atletico. 35 points for Girona, who are tied with Real Madrid, who are now battling for 1st and 2nd. What a fairy tale story that is for Girona. At least one Catalan side here is, doing justice to Catalan football, because it's certainly not Barça. And, it pains me to say that. Anybody that knows me, that is, been following whether it's D-Spot or Churros, knows that I'm a full-fledged, diehard culé hasta la médula, since birth, and that's never going to change. But things do have to change for Xavi and these players, and quickly, because looking at what is ahead, we've got Porto next tonight in a few hours, where we can hopefully walk into the knockout round for the first time in 2-3 years. That would be nice, wouldn't it? To go back into the knockout round of the Champions League and do so comfortably with flair. We're right now tied with Porto, so we're fighting it out, battling it out for 1 and 2 spot. That's not to say that Shakhtar isn't still in the mix. Antwerp is out of it, of course, no points for them, but Shakhtar sitting with 6 points. We could still get knocked out of the Champions League at this point, with just 2 matches to be left to play. And I don't want to, no quiero pecar aquí. I don't want to commit the commentator's curse, but it's a reality. It's the truth. So let's hope that tonight we see Barça take a commanding victory, a convincing one at that. And let's hope for a dominant performance, because we need it. The team needs it. The fans need it. The fan base. I mean, I'll take myself as a representation, because I'm not much for Barça Twitter, so or and I think that's kind of where you would get a good sense of what the fan base is feeling. But if I speak with friends, I mean, we're all demoralized, we're all downtrodden at the moment, and the games are coming hot and fast, dude. Like I said, it's Porto tonight, over the weekend on Sunday. Hello, guess who's strolling through town? It's the hottest team, or one of the hot teams of La Liga right now, Atlético de Madrid. And if you think that is a big bone to chew, it's possibly, arguably, the hottest team in La Liga that is following Atlético de Madrid, and that's Girona. So we have the Colchoneros coming up after Porto. Is the 1-2 punch between the 3rd and 2nd spot. as we have to face Girona after that. Then it's the final game away against Antwerp, and then we're over at Mestalla, and we know how difficult the games against Valencia traditionally always are. A Valencia side that is now sort of floating in no man's land, if you will, around the mid-table, but they take these games against Barça with utmost seriousness, and so should we, because it's like I said, is traditionally always one of those classic domestic games in LaLiga that are marked red on your calendars. Then it's Almería, Las Palmas, Osasuna in the Supercopa de España, so we also have to focus on that. How many games are we going to play this time in the Supercopa before finishing off the month of January with, of course, the at that point in time, officially the second half of La Liga season will be underway as we face Real Betis. Let me take this by chronological order here. Osasuna, Real Betis, and Villarreal before facing Osasuna again in La Liga. So it's Osasuna in the Super Cup, then Osasuna in La Liga. Anyway, it's La Liga, folks. It's that's the season. It's now, as of now, the going is going to get tough. Is that what you say? The going is going to get tough? I don't know if you say it like that, but you understand what I'm trying to say. It's, there's just no slowing down now at this point. And quite frankly, I need to see, a shift in mentality. I think a lot of it is mental. I think a lot of the this lackluster performances, these performances that just ooze out. Whether it's a lack of confidence, whether it is complacency, I don't know what it is, but I think it's more mental than physical. And that's not to say that, of course, this team hasn't had its own physical issues and problems, given the fact that, Pedri has been missing for most of the season so far. Frenkie de Jong has been missing. Lewandowski has been missing. Koundé, Araujo, you name it. Who else has been out? And did I say Lewandowski? Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Now, of course, Gavi is out for the rest of the season. And that is, quite frankly, what worries me the most. Besides Gavi's skill and his importance as a midfielder and his influence on the game, it's his energy. It's his personality. It's his character. It's his attitude. That, I think, is what we're going to be missing the most and what we need the most, because mentally we're just not there. All right, man, let me get to your questions. I've got my son sick downstairs, so I want to tend to him as well. I had to pick him up from school as my wife went to pick up our daughter from school. So I want to get to your questions. Mahan saying, so respect for you. Like I said, Mahan, thank you so much. Drop your questions in the commentary box, and I'll get to your question. All the respects to you back, to anybody. Like I said, D-Spot Churros is a place for all races, religions, genders, club lovers. As long as we can get on respectfully, everybody is more than welcome here. Pranav saying, it was lost already when Madrid had golden stripes. What golden stripes? What do you mean, Pranav? Golden stripes on the shirt? Anyway, so he's saying, serious question though. On paper, Barça has the most balanced squad. Sure. Although, well, really? I think we could argue that. You have players in all positions with decent backups. Yeah, that was of course one of Xavi's big demands, requests when the season started, was to have two players for each positions. But Pranav is saying, with the exception that being a striker, Lewandowski, who is not firing well, but of course now Vitor Roque, he's going to come in January, so he'll be hopefully not just a backup. Hopefully he'll be put Lewandowski on the bench and also quiet the Polish striker a little bit. Quiet him down a wee bit, because I do not like I have not been liking his attitude. I've been vocal about that on this podcast. is this only an injury issue? Pranaf is saying. You mean with Lewandowski not firing? No, I don't think it's an injury-only issue. I think it's an attitude issue as well for him. Now, I have been also fair, I think, to the Barça number 9 and say that he should have been sought out more, you know, on multiple occasions. Not all. I don't think in a Lamine Yamal situation he should have behaved like that, because I understand why Lamine, went for glory himself. But on other occasions, I'm like, well, yeah, a pass to Lewandowski in a certain situation would have maybe been a better option. So I can understand some of the frustrations maybe that he's feeling, but I don't think that ever justifies his behavior, let's say, that we have been seeing, or his criticism is very open and outward criticism towards Xavi. Like I said, I mean, who the hell are you to talk to a football mastermind like Xavi, who in my view, in my eyes, was a better player than you have ever been. So going in pretty hard against Lewandowski, man, because yeah, I don't know. I just, again, it might be my pessimistic state of mind at the moment, but I just feel like this is not going to end well, right? With Robert, I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, but enough of saying Xavi, or does Xavi need to step it up in the game? Well, look, of course Xavi needs to step it up. There's absolutely no doubt about it. If you guys haven't seen our conversation, our interview with Andrea Orlandi, that was for patrons, but I was very vocal about my concerns as well, not just on the team, but also on Xavi, saying, look, some of the substitutions of Xavi at times have been questionable. Some of the tactics as well. For example, I mean, Robert Lewandowski, again, putting him in the Clásico, I felt was wrong. I felt that keeping Ferran would have been the better option. And like that, there've been other moments where I think that Xavi, he has a lot of improving to do, some soul searching maybe as well. Because I think that we're not seeing the same Xavi that we saw last season. I think that's fair to say. I think we're not seeing, last season we had the Clásico, we had some very, very good performances, and both in the league, in the Supercopa as well, that we saw this team execute some brilliant football, and so far this season, I just haven't seen it, man. And I know, like I said, we just went over all the games, game against Betis and the game against Antwerp, or even in the Clásico. It's just not enough. It's not consistent enough. We're not seeing, a gradual improvement in the team's ability to execute Xavi's plans. And of course, we need to shed a critical eye as well on Xavi with that regard. Nazmul Shova, Diego, love your content. Keep it up, man. Thank you so much. I should do this more, these live streams. It's nice to get your questions in, as we're treading along here. I have neglected my YouTube channel because all my focus is just on churros. Anytime I come out and stream, it's just my focus is on churros. So, and make sure that you follow us as well from time to time when I can, and have the inspiration. I clip up some clips. I chop up some clips. I cut up some clips, and I put them on the churros social media handles. So, follow us there, man. Follow us there, but keep an eye on this channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to D-Spot, because I might just do these more often as well, and maybe about other topics as well. I don't know. But enough saying video stuck. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I was having some clear technical issues. Dan Mai saying, what about the concerns about the Camp Nou project? Well, do we need to be concerned about that? What do you mean exactly? Are you talking finances? Are you talking structure? Are you talking, some of this, the quote-unquote investigation that has taken place, where apparently some of the workers are underpaid or overworked. It turns out that the same thing happened at the Bernabeu, but don't count on any of the local press, neither Catalan nor Madrid press, to write any bad publicity or articles about Real Madrid, because again, this is not a conspiracy. Florentino Perez has got a massive stronghold on the national media, and everyone is just too shit scared to say anything against the most powerful man in Spain at the moment, that is Don Florentino Perez. And that's no conspiracy. That's not me saying that. That's Javier Tebas saying that. I'm quoting the president of LaLiga and also member and fan of Real Madrid. So take his word for it. Am I concerned though about the Camp Nou project? No. I'm excited for it to get done. I hope that it will get done in a timely manner and in an efficient manner that will cover, or abide by the plan and therefore, the financial plan for it as well. I think it looks stunning. It's going to be beautiful. We've always had, since the inauguration of the Camp Nou, what was it, some 70 something years ago, 75 years ago. The inauguration of the Camp Nou, is that right? I think it's around that. We've had the biggest stadium in Europe, and it's going to be bigger, it's going to be better, it's going to be more glorious, and it will outshine the Bernabeu, in my opinion, for sure. The Bernabeu, or should we call it La Lata de Sardinas, the sardine can. That is the Bernabeu now. Come on, guys. I have to prick you a little bit, right? I gotta stick it to you a little bit. BR saying, think we got you back now. Okay, good. Thank you. Tanmai saying, Real Sociedad match was the worst of the lot. It was brutal. It was brutal. I mean, and it's no exaggeration, neither, when I say Real Sociedad y Manuel Alguacil executed a game plan where they could have been up 3 goals after the opening 5 minutes. No exaggeration. Go back, look at the game. Marc-André ter Stegen keeps us in it, has some amazing saves, and on another day we would have conceded 3 goals in 3 minutes, hands down, for sure. If we did it against Granada, we did it against Alaves, that game against Real Sociedad, how the hell they didn't score through the entirety of 90 minutes is something beyond my capacity of understanding, because it's unbeknownst to me as to how we walked away with 3 points, because it was awful. It was an awful performance. Fully agree. Tanmai is saying also Xavi's had enough time and signings for him now. Yes, it's now his second season in charge, full season. I give him full credit for what he did when he took over from Ronald Koeman halfway through the season, sitting in 9th, putting us all the way up to 2nd, finishing off in Champions League spots, and then going on to win La Liga. He has more time for me to, I'm still on the Xavi bandwagon, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not jumping off of it. I'm, critical of what we're seeing, of his performance, of the team's performances, and his ability as a coach, or inability this season to improve the team. So I'm critical of that, but he still has time and credit for me, at least until the end of the season. So let's see how he finishes off the season. Pranav saying, what is Barca's long-term central defensive midfield solution? Is it Romeo? Is it Gavi? Is it Frenkie de Jong? Is it Nico Gonzalez, who we're going to play against tonight, of course, against Porto? Will he come back, or new signing like Vermeeren or anyone else? Same for striker solution. So in the beginning of the season, I was really hyped with Oriol Romeo, and I was like, it's the boy coming home story, right? One of the prodigal sons, if you will, who is from La Masia, a key player in the system of Michel for Girona. And Michel, who, without him, seems to work the magic sufficiently to have not noticed his absence. And Oriol Romeo, his participation for the team has gone from good to bad, quite frankly. And Xavi is not putting him in the starting 11 anymore when he was like a fixed starter at the beginning of the season. In the beginning, I was confident. I was happy with what we were seeing from him. I felt like he was confident, and that confidence has just kind of been slipping away and fading with the progression and the passing of the games. It's unfortunate, but it's a truth. So, who's the long-term defensive midfield solution? I don't think it's Nico. I was hopeful that it was Nico, but seeing as he has not been able to, uh, you know, produce and perform for Porto neither, my hopes are dwindling for the great Fran Gonzalez, the ex Super Deport player's son, Nico Gonzalez. Physically so gifted, tactically I thought was gifted as well. I felt like his debut breakout season for the Barça first team was really good. But with the passing of time, it seems to not be. He seems to not be that guy, and we'll have to wait and see, man. I mean, for the remainder of this season, I will like considering that Xavi is out. I mean, excuse me, Gavi is out. Let's hope that there's an official Barça statement with regards to the surgery that Gavi just had. So let me read that out while I pull this up for you. But so in the absence of Gavi, I have no doubt that he will, put Frankie De Jong or Gundogan in that position. Am I still here? Yes. And that the three pillars will be, Pedri, Frankie, Gundogan, with probably, the German midfielder in a more defensive position, or Frankie, quite frankly. I mean, he could put either in that more defensive position, a position that I think both or neither are necessarily very comfortable in. But it is what it is, right? They are your three best midfielders, and you got to play them. And one has to be the sacrificial lamb and play as a defensive pivot because Gavi isn't there, and not that he plays in that position, but Oriol Romeo is just not playing. Is not up to par anymore for the moment. So we'll have to wait and see. In terms of new signings, well, I would like to see more players being recruited from the Barça youth ranks. Quite frankly, I wouldn't mind Unai Hernandez or the German guy. What's his name? Noah Darvic. Even though these are again not naturally central defensive midfielders, but I would like to continue to see the promotion from the Barça youngsters, because we have some real talent there. And, if we need to go to the market and look for a transfer, it has to be a player de garantías, like a guaranteed, the instant guaranteed successful defensive midfielder that hits the ground running straight away. And I don't know if Barça have the, say, financial firepower to bring in such a player of guarantees of instant, production at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see. Tanmai is saying labor and the construction company. So you're talking about the Turkish firm. What are they called? Limak. Right. Well, am I concerned about it? There's so many things to be concerned about, man. And I mean, it seems like Darwin's theory of what can go wrong will go wrong is coming to fruition in seasons like these, because everything is being thrown Barca's way, everything is sticking. from the Negreira case to the injuries to now all kinds of questions with regards to Laporta and his handling of the Barça affairs to now even the construction company Limac reportedly doing some shady business. I don't know, but I'm not concerned about it, man. I'm trying not to be anyway. We'll have to wait and see what other news breaks. But go to a YouTube channel called Siempre Blaugranas because that channel put out another report where they talk about the Bernabeu having very similar conditions and circumstances and stuff with their construction company. Of course, something that didn't make the papers or make the press because the press here in Spain just hyped those kind of stories. The same as Villarejo, who talks about him having clear-cut evidence and reports of Madrid paying referees well before Barça ever did. But inshallah, will we see that news break one day? Inshallah, maybe one day, God willing. Pranav, last question from me. Give us your Madrid and Barça combined future 11. Future 11? Yeah, like what? Based on the team we have now? Or how far in the future, my friend? I mean, I don't know. You're kind of putting me on the spot here. Let me go to Transfermarkt, and I'll take this moment to say as well that this will be the last question I'm going to entertain, as I got to get back to fatherly duties. But so the future starting 11. It's hard to do, my friend. Like, you're putting me very much on the spot. And again, I don't know, by future you mean how far into the future. I mean, look, why don't I try to do? Why don't I try to do you a favor, or try to do this? If the goddamn page would load. It's not loading. I don't know what's going on. I'll give you my favorite starting 11 at this point, okay? Or future, as in what I would like to see Gavi come out with for the game against Porto. Peña in goal. We don't have a choice. Cancelo, Araujo, Koundé, Balde in the back, Pedri, Gundogan, Frankie in the midfield, Rafinha. Do I want Rafinha? I guess you gotta go Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Joao, or I mean, I'm such a big Lamine Yamal fan that I'd put him in at any given occasion. But I mean, this might be a very good moment for Rafinha to state his claim and I guess kind of take the lead, if you will, lead by example, and showcase his talents. All right, that's it, man. That's it. Pranav saying, let me have Balde versus Fran. Taking Balde, man. Of course, Balde always. Barça have come out and said that the intervention and the surgery that Dr. Juan Carles has carried out has gone satisfactory. Obviously, I mean, what are they going to say? And that's it. And that he's out for the rest of the season. Anyways, man, that's it. Look, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel, D-Spot, but also Churros y Tácticas on Twitter, on Instagram, and TikTok. But more importantly, Patreon as well, because we have another guest coming. We had Andrea Orlandi join us a couple of weeks ago. That was Churros y Invitados, Part 1, Episode 1. We have guest number 2 ready, locked and loaded. And I don't want to break the news yet who it is. I want you guys to go over to patreon.com/churros y tácticas. Subscribe, become a patron, because really that is where the goodness is being produced. So guest number 2 is ready to go. Make sure you don't miss out. Catch up on Andrea Orlandi. It was a fascinating hour and a half chat with the ex-Barça player and Brighton star, now LaLiga TV and DAZN pundit. Thank you guys all for joining. Thank you for your questions. Pranav is saying great work, Diego. You're my least disliked culé. I take that as a compliment, so thank you so much. All the Madridistas that have joined this chat as well have been respectful. Thank you guys for your comments and questions, and we will see you at the end of the week, Thursday or Friday, for another churros for patrons only. Peace out, stay blessed, and Visca el Barça.